Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the inaugural session of the 4th World University Summit organized by OP Jindal Global University. I extend a very warm welcome to our distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, and members of the audience who have joined us today. Our theme for this year's summit is Universities of the Future, a global partnership for social justice and sustainable development. I'm delighted to share that during this 3-day-long summit, comprising more than 25 thematic sessions, we are joined by representatives from 20 countries, more than 100 leading universities from across the world, and over 225 higher education thought leaders. Today, as we begin our inaugural session, I'm delighted to share that we are joined by Dr. SUBHAS SARKAR, Honorable Minister of State for Education, Ministry of Education, Government of India, as our chief guest today. Welcome, sir. I am also so pleased to welcome Dr. ASHWIN Fernandes, Executive Director, Quacquarelli Symonds, India, Professor Dr. PANKAJ MITTAL, Secretary General Association of Indian Universities, Professor Dr. VIRANDER S. CHAUHAN, former Chairman, University Grants Commission, Professor Dr. C. Rajkumar, Founding Vice Chancellor, OP Jindal Global University, and Professor DABIRU SRIDHAR PATNAIK, Registrar, OP Jindal Global University. Welcome and thank you for joining us this morning. As we begin our inaugural session, I invite Professor Dr. C. Rajkumar, Founding Vice Chancellor, OP Jindal Global University, to please present the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Surabhi. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you who have logged in from different parts of the world. I would like to welcome all of you to this 3-day World University Summit organized by the International Institute for Higher Education Research and Capacity Building of OP Jindal Global University. This year, we have envisioned the summit to be a hybrid event commencing with 2 days of 25 virtual thematic sessions, concluding with the Higher Education Leaders Conclave physically at JGU's University campus at Sonipat on Wednesday, 21st February. I would like to begin by expressing my heartfelt and deep gratitude to the Honorable Minister of State for Education, Shri SUBHAS SARKAR. Dr. Sarkar has been a great champion for higher education. I deeply appreciate him gracing this occasion with his benign presence. It is the support and encouragement and inspiration of leaders like Dr. Sarkar that has been the driving force behind our mission to build the future of India and indeed the future of the world through education. I am deeply grateful to our guest of honor and I dare say friends of JGU, Dr. ASHWIN Fernandes, Executive Director, QS Quacquarelli Symonds, Professor Dr. PANKAJ MITTAL, the Secretary General of the Association of Indian Universities, and Professor Dr. VIRANDER CHAUHAN, former Chairman, University Grants Commission, besides my colleague Registrar, Professor SRIDHAR PATNAIK. Thank you for always believing in our vision to become a world-class university, creating truly transformative leaders. The World University Summit has been conceptualized by OP Jindal Global University with the vision to create a platform for universities worldwide to come together to help shape and transform the universities of the future. A tradition started during the pandemic in 2020, the summit has been held in the virtual mode for the convenience of international speakers. Our first virtual summit in 2020 congregated 80+ thought leaders from 55+ countries and colleges representing 15 countries and 55 universities. Our second summit in 2021 congregated over 150+ thought leaders from 100+ universities and colleges worldwide across 25 countries in the world. In light of India's presidency of the G20, the summit in 2023 on Universities of the Future, building institutional resilience, social responsibility, and community impact in G20 countries convened 160+ thought leaders from 100+ universities and colleges representing all member countries of the G20. This year, the 4th edition of the World University Summit aims to expand our platform to bring together university leaders from around the world to envisage the universities of the future for a global partnership for social justice and sustainable development. In the current climate of evolving social, political, technological, and economic landscapes, the entire world is faced with a pivotal challenge of reimagining the role of universities than ever before. Technological advancements, pedagogical and disciplinary innovations, academic research combined with globalization and deeper social engagement are now changing the very essence of and the functioning of higher education institutions. Institutional reform in this direction would inevitably require risk-taking, innovation, and learning from the past. The national education policy in India has provided a new impetus for this type of reform. Hence, it's important that universities across the world come together to find their collective consciousness and utilize the intellectual capital to pave way for global partnership, accentuating social justice and sustainable development. We need to reimagine the universities of the future to strengthen their vision and commitment towards institutional resilience, social responsibility, and community impact. Therefore, given the aim to create truly global perspectives, I am humbled to share with you that this summit will bring together over 225 academic and university leaders with representation from 20 countries and 6 continents to discuss the universities of the future and their role in building this resilience and social justice and sustainable development. We will be in the presence of institutional leaders from over 100 leading universities, including 85 vice chancellors, provosts, rectors, registrars, presidents, vice presidents, deputy presidents, founding deans, and executive deans. Over 25 thematic sessions have been carefully crafted to ensure that we deliberate on the most important topics that are the need of this hour. To ensure a well-rounded perspective, we will also have leaders from global organizations, including from the Association of Commonwealth Universities, the Association of American Universities and Colleges, Quacquarelli, Symonds, and the World Bank. On the third and final day, the summit will culminate with the Higher Education Leaders Conclave, physically organized in partnership with Dr. Preetham Singh Foundation, to be held on our campus. We'll be hosting some of the world's leading scholars in the field of higher education, including the one and only Professor Dr. Philip Alpack, Professor Emeritus, Center for International Higher Education, Boston College, United States, Professor Dr. Shailendra Raj Mehta, President and Director of MICA, Professor Dr. Bhushan Padwardhan, former Vice Chairman, University Grants Commission. The conclave will facilitate debates and discussions among 100 vice chancellors and higher education leaders from the Delhi NCR on the evolving role of universities in championing social justice and sustainable development. Since 2020, we have hosted over 120 presidents, vice chancellors, provosts, and rectors from leading universities from countries across 6 continents of the world. It has truly been a remarkable journey from conceptualizing the idea of a World University Summit in the midst of the pandemic to witnessing this incredible gathering of minds dedicated to shaping the future of education every year. Over the past 4 years, we have achieved an impressive feat from hosting over 80 thought leaders in 2022 to convening over 225 thought leaders in 2024. Let me quickly bring this moment to the Indian context. The Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, outlined the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047 on 11th December 2023 with a focus on empowering the youth of India. Remarkably, he chose the opportunity to outline this vision during a workshop that was hosted by the governors of all states of India in the presence of the government's education establishment, including the ministers, secretaries of education, and vice chancellors of universities and higher education institutions across the country. The Prime Minister was conscious of the fact that the Viksit Bharat 2047 can only be fulfilled if we focus on empowering our universities and higher education institutions. I believe that for our universities and higher education institutions to fulfill the vision of Viksit Bharat in 2047, while celebrating the 100th anniversary of our independence, we need to seek fundamental and radical change in the governance of Indian universities and higher education institutions. The first and foremost is that we need to recognize the importance of development, and development of its people is connected to development of its institutions. The top 20 countries which have been ranked in the United Nations Development Programme's Human Development Index are Switzerland, Iceland, Australia, Sweden, Germany, Finland, Belgium, Canada, Luxembourg, and Japan. The population of all these 10 countries put together is nearly 310 million. India's population is nearly 5 times more of the population of all these top 10 countries in the world. This will be our biggest challenge and also our greatest opportunity. The concept of development is evolutionary as expressed in the declaration entitled Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And I quote, "Sustainable development recognizes that eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions, combating inequality within and among countries, preserving the planet, creating sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, and fostering social inclusion are linked to each other and are interdependent," unquote. It is clearly recognized both within India and at the international level that development in all its forms and manifestations is about people. So the Viksit Bharat at 2047 is about the development of the people of India. Since more than 70% of India or the youth of India, the Honorable Prime Minister has focused his and the government's attention towards the youth, focusing on their education and empowerment. The empowerment of youth will have to be undertaken by the universities and higher education institutions in India. It is in these institutions that the future of India is built due to the extraordinary demographic dividend where we have 1 billion plus people who are less than 35 years of age and are seeking education and employment. At the dawn of Indian independence, our life expectancy was approximately 32. And today, after 76 years of independence, our life expectancy has reached 72. The United Nations estimated that by 2100, India's life expectancy will be 82. This essentially means that when most parts of the Western world and the Eastern world, including United States, China, and Japan, will become older, India will be younger and will be younger for a longer time. Young Indians will be shaping the future of India and indeed the future of the world. This requires tenacity, leadership, and transformation of India's youth, all of which will depend upon how our universities and higher education institutions will shape their mindset. Second, a developed nation needs world-class universities. Viksit Bharat at 2047 should recognize that the developed nations of the world have historically prioritized the growth and development of their universities and higher education institutions. The leading universities of the developed world have been beacons of excellence in teaching, research, and capacity building. They attract the finest minds to be faculty and students and have nurtured excellence for centuries. Indian history and civilization heritage had Nalanda, Takshila, Vikramshila, and other such institutions over 2000 years ago, which played a leadership role in educational excellence. I have consistently argued that no developed country in the world has achieved that status without a large number of world-class universities that have driven the educational imagination of these societies. Viksit Bharat at 2047 has a direct and substantial correlation to India's aspirations for nurturing world-class universities. The top 200 universities ranked by the QS World University Rankings in 2024 has predominance of higher education institutions present in developed societies. Over 160 universities among the top 200, that is 80% of the universities, are located in developed countries of the world. It needs to be noted that among the 10 developing countries whose universities are represented in these rankings, there are 8 from China, 5 from Malaysia, and only 2 from India. Two major policy initiatives in the higher education sector promoted by the Government of India in the last decade has a direct and inextricable link to the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047. The first major policy initiative is the National Education Policy 2020. NEP 2020 has provided the foundation for Viksit Bharat 2047 and will significantly help us work towards achieving these goals and aspirations. However, we need to understand and strengthen our institutional mechanisms for implementing NEP 2020. Second is the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister when he articulated the idea of institutions of eminence. Prime Minister Modi in 2017, while speaking at the centenary celebrations of Patna University, India's 7th oldest university, essentially made a very important point and lamented that no Indian institution was ranked among the top leading universities in the world. He challenged the educational establishment of India when he asked, and I quote, "Isn't it a slur on us? Shouldn't the situation change in a country that has had unmatched legacy in the field of education with institutions like Nalanda, Vikramshila, and many more?" he asked. The Honorable Prime Minister further observed, quote, "We will provide assistance to 10 private universities and an equal number of government ones. All these universities have to do is to demonstrate their potential to become world-class, unquote, and he announced. Both these outstanding public policy initiatives, I believe, have the potential to help India nurture the establishment and development of world-class universities. As I conclude, the developed nations of the world have created a research ecosystem that helps them to address the big problems of our time. Research-driven economies and societies are better suited to address complex issues of our society, while new technologies are being created at a fast pace that most nations are not able to comprehend and keep pace with. The power of artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, including generative AI, will fuel the future of education, employment, and development. Unfortunately, at this point of time, our universities are not adequately prepared to embrace this impending change. It is not just the technology that needs upgradation, but it is the entire regulatory architecture, including laws, rules, regulations, ethics, and compliance mechanisms associated with the role of technology that requires a total reimagination. Developed nations need enlightened and progressive regulations that govern higher education and universities. Indian universities and Indian higher education institutions need to be freed from the shackles of regulation for them to achieve their fullest potential. Viksit Bharat at 2047 needs empowerment of its universities and HEI so that they can become more innovative and truly Atmanirbhar. I propose the establishment of the Prime Minister's Advisory Council on Universities with a focus on fulfilling the vision and mission of Viksit Bharat at 2047. The members of the council could include the Vice Chancellors of leading public and private universities in the country. The council should directly be advising the Prime Minister on the role and responsibilities of universities as catalysts for change and impacting the future of India. Indian universities need to be reimagined with a focus on institutional excellence, research impact, holistic education that will empower the youth of India. I want to express my deep gratitude to all of you, the esteemed guests, distinguished speakers, our international partners, friends and well-wishers from all around the world who have helped us reaching this very important milestone of the 4th edition of the World University Summit. Your dedication, support, and encouragement have been the driving force behind the summit success. I also take this moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the students, faculty, and staff members of JGU whose invaluable contributions have laid the foundations for this success. Over the next 3 days, let us come together and find our creative and collective consciousness, reimagine the universities of the future, and strengthen our role as actors of social change. It's also a very special day for me personally as I complete 15 years as Vice Chancellor of Jindal Global University. And I also take this moment to thank all of you for your trust and your confidence in my leadership, but more importantly, to be able to be colleagues and fellow travelers in this journey of institutional reimagination of Indian universities. Thank you for being with us, and I truly look forward to having all of you with us across these 3 days. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your powerful words and for sharing such concrete goals. I now invite Dr. ASHWIN Fernandes, Executive Director, QS Quacquarelli Symonds, India, to please share the special address. Over to you, Dr. Fernandes.
Thank you so very much. A very good morning to everybody joining. First and foremost, to Dr. SUBHAS, the Honorable Minister of State for Education, Government of India, to our dear friend and host, Professor Dr. Kumar, the founding Vice Chancellor of Jindal Global University, to our guest of honors, Professor Dr. PANKAJ MITTAL, the Secretary General of the Association of Indian Universities, and Professor Dr. VIRANDER, the former chairperson of University Grants Commission, and finally, Professor SRIDHAR PATNAIK, the Registrar at Jindal Global University, and all of you who are joining us today. It's a wonderful morning, and I'm so happy to join not just for the 4th World University Summit, but also to celebrate the 15 years that we are celebrating today for Professor Kumar. When I got the message from Professor Raj last evening, I was so overjoyed that this kind of coincides with the summit, and I wish Professor Raj all the very best to take the institution even further through the next many years and greater heights for the institution. The theme of this summit is very apt. It says, Universities of the Future, a global partnership for social justice and sustainable development. So in the current landscape of higher education, the traditional university model, we've always argued, has or will become extinct, and of course stands at the brink of a major transformation. So as we navigate the current complexities of how our world is changing, COVID has changed it to a greater extent, and we expect it to change in the next coming years. The future of universities demands that we reimagine its role, its structure, and also its basic methodology of what do we call a university. So first and foremost, let us tackle the two themes around which the summit has been designed. First is on social justice. And universities have the power to be great equalizers. And definitely to achieve this for social justice, we should ensure that universities have their doors open to all, regardless of socioeconomic status, race, gender, or even nationality. On sustainable development, the future of our planet demands urgent action, and universities are definitely uniquely positioned to lead this charge. Now, this involves not just teaching sustainability, but embedding it through research, campus operations, and community engagement. So, to become the university of the future, encompassing social justice and sustainable development, we need to understand and explore the basic principle of the output, that is, the students and their ever-changing job roles and skills. So for that, let us try to understand the World Economic Forum's latest report on the future of jobs 2023, which says that 69 million jobs will be created in the next few years, which are of course driven by technology and the green transition. But these gains will be offset by 83 million jobs, which will be put at risk by economic pressures and automation. So that means, dear friends, that 1/4 of today's jobs will be redundant in the next 5 years. Yes, in the next 5 years. Now, recruitment managers, talent acquisition heads from various tech companies have definitely their fingers on the pulse of the evolving criteria for employability, but universities have to stay connected to the industries to embrace this opportunity. So in order to meet and become the university of the future, let me summarize the 6 most important and emerging trends and potential trajectories that universities need to embrace today to become a university of tomorrow. And we already see some of these trends being embedded into the National Education Policy 2020, which is the brainchild of our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi. So the first most important change is embracing the dynamic learning ecosystem. A university of the future will transcend the confines of a physical campus, but will definitely not make it redundant. It will embrace digital platforms, immersive technologies to create a dynamic learning ecosystem. Now, online learning, blended and in-person experiences will continue and grow, but will offer greater flexibility, accessibility, catering to a diverse learner needs. We are already seeing the revolutionary Apple Vision Pro glasses making a revolution in many parts of the world today, how it's changing the VR experience. But in the next few years, that's going to take a notch up into VR, augmenting it with augmented reality, and along with artificial intelligence, which will enrich the educational experience, fostering engagement and interactivity. So first, in this case, is embracing this dynamic learning ecosystem. The second is implementing lifelong learning and micro-credentials at the university. So for a student, a typical career path currently is to attend a university, front-load formal learning, and use the same skills in the same industry, if not the same company, for the next 40 years. But that is set to change because of the shifts in technology, trade, labor markets, and other factors, which mean that a job for life concept is dwindling in favor of less traditional employment relationships. Now, the University of the Future must embrace the concept of lifelong learning, where education is a continuous process rather than a one-time endeavor. Universities in the future will offer bite-sized, flexible courses, also which are known as micro-credentials today, throughout the journey of the individual, allowing them to upskill or reskill through their careers. Now, this approach will address the ever-evolving demands of the job market and empower individuals to remain relevant in a rapidly changing world. The third most important area is integrating global connectivity. Now, we are seeing it to an extent currently. And what is global connectivity? For that, let's try to understand the UNESCO data, which is available by the UNESCO Institute of Statistics, where an estimated 120 million people will be in higher education by 2030, with 2.3 million of those studying abroad. So, as a result of this, universities and B schools both will begin to offer a wide range of degree programs that they traditionally offer, but allowing students to study at a time and pace that suits them. With study options going as far as blended learning, students will definitely have the option to pick and choose how many online courses, how many on-campus courses they could spend, and perhaps spend the first year studying on campus before transferring abroad for a semester at a partner university, and then finishing the degree online. Hence, embracing global connectivity. So the University of the Future will have this at the center of it and will cultivate the diverse and inclusive learning environment, transcending geographical borders. The fourth is co-locating with industries. The University of the Future will be a place where universities and industries are co-located and collaborate on projects that solve real-world problems. They'll become precincts of innovation and actively apply research for community impact. As industries and universities form deeper partnerships, of course, students will benefit from university-based accelerator programs, incubators, where ideas are stimulated and translated into commercial businesses much faster than what we are currently seeing. The fifth is integrating interdisciplinary collaboration. We are already seeing that with the NEP emphasizing this. The future universities will prioritize interdisciplinary collaboration as a catalyst for innovation and problem solving. So the current siloed disciplinary boundaries will blur, fostering synergies across fields and perspectives. Collaborative research initiatives tackling global challenges such as climate change and public health will define the ethos of universities as engines of societal progress. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the last most important is nurturing ethical leadership and social responsibility. So universities of the future will be holding a pivotal role in nurturing ethical leadership. And we can already see what has happened on the financial streets, what has happened everywhere in the world today with the leadership being questionable in certain areas. So universities will be at the core of nurturing both leadership and social responsibility among students and faculty. Emphasizing, of course, sustainability, social justice, ethical decision-making. Hence, these institutions will integrate these principles into the curriculum, research agendas, campus operations, and the overall theme of the university, fostering a culture of responsible stewardship. So as I end today, I would like to say that the future of universities is positioned at an intersection of innovation, inclusivity, impact, embracing digital transformation, and fostering interdisciplinary collaboration, and prioritizing lifelong learning. The University of the Future can fulfill their mandate as drivers of knowledge creation and social advancement in the 21st century and beyond. As we embark on this journey, let us envision universities not merely as universities of higher learning, but as vibrant hubs of creativity, compassion, and collective endeavor. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really happy to be with you all today and to make this crisp opening address. Thank you again to our dear friend Prof. Raj for thinking of me to make this statement. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fernandes, for sharing such a solid vision, which is instrumental to developing universities of the future. I now invite Professor Dr. PANKAJ Mittal, Secretary General Association of Indian Universities, to please share the special address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Surabhi. Thank you very much. First of all, congratulations to Raj for completing 15 glorious years as Vice Chancellor of Jindal Global University. As I always say, you are an institution builder, and you have built this institution from a very, very small organization to the almost a world-class university today. So congratulations to you. Our Honorable Minister of State, very loving Minister of State, Dr. SUBHAS Sarkarji, Dr. Virender CHAUHAN, who has been the chairman of UGC, which has been my parent office, Dr. ASHWIN FERNANDES, the ED Executive Director for the QS ranking, a much sought after ranking. Others on the dais, the Vice Chancellors and the participants from the, say, 20 countries, which Raj informed, who have joined us today. A very good morning, afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I would like to thank Raj, not only for inviting me to give an address over here, but also for organizing this World Education Summit year after year. This is the 4th summit, and on a very, very pertinent topic. So today we are talking about the future of the universities and the role they play in fostering global partnerships for social justice and sustainable development. Very, very important topic indeed. And that is why at Association of Indian Universities around 2 years back, we devoted a full year on the theme that how the universities can contribute in the realization of sustainable development goals. So we have a very big full-fledged report, which with one chapter on each SDG, 17 chapters are there, that how universities can contribute, why India is still very low in the SDG ranking. It is around between 110 and 120, it lies for the last 3-4 years. So how can we improve our ranking? How can we realize the SDGs faster with the help of the universities? So in these next 10 minutes, I will delve into the challenges we face, the opportunities that lie ahead, and the imperative for universities to lead the way in addressing these issues through collaboration and innovation. So we all know that we are living in an era of unprecedented change. Now that unprecedented change includes many, many issues like climate change, rapid urbanization, technological disruptions, socioeconomic inequalities, and many, many more complex challenges are there which are confronting our world. So these issues are not only confined to the national borders, not only to India, they are global in nature and they require collective action to solve. In this context, universities have a critical role to play as hubs of knowledge creation, innovation, and collaboration. First, we'll come to climate change. So one of the key challenges we face is climate change. The scientific consensus is clear. We are facing a climate emergency that requires urgent and decisive action. Universities, with their wealth of expertise in the fields ranging from environmental science to policy analysis, are uniquely positioned to contribute to solutions. However, no single university or no single country can tackle climate change alone. We need to forge partnerships that transcend borders and disciplines, bringing together researchers, policymakers, businesses, civil societies, and then only we can develop and implement effective strategies for mitigation and adaptation. We need to create awareness among the students because we have 4 crore students in our higher education ecosystem. So we can create awareness among the students regarding climate change. We can request them or promote that they can follow good practices to conserve energy, to protect environment. We can ensure that our universities, their own campuses, are zero carbon footprint campuses. They can be using effectively the solar energy, converting biomass into energy and so on. And then they can do a lot of research on sustainable development, on climate change. So like this, there are many, many ways in which the universities can contribute. Now, in addition to climate change, we also face pressing challenges in areas such as poverty, inequality, and access to education and healthcare. These challenges are again deeply interconnected, and addressing them requires a holistic approach that recognizes the complex web of social, economic, and environmental factors at play. Once again, universities have a crucial role to play in fostering interdisciplinary research and collaboration to tackle these issues from multiple angles. Also, universities must recognize the importance of engaging with the stakeholders beyond academia. I mean, they have to engage with many people apart from their own academia, means their own institutions, students, faculty, other universities. They also have to engage with the governments. They have to engage with the businesses. They have to engage with the civil society organizations. They have to engage with the local communities. And then they can have valuable insights and resources to contribute to the sustainable development agenda. By forging partnerships with these stakeholders, universities can ensure that their research and innovation are not only relevant, but also accessible and actionable. Furthermore, universities must embrace a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship to drive sustainable development. This includes supporting research and development of new technologies, promoting technology transfer, nurturing the next generation of social entrepreneurs and change makers. And the universities, they can be providing students with opportunities to apply their knowledge in real world settings and encourage them to think creatively and critically. This is a very important role which the university can play. So universities can cultivate a new generation of leaders, because all the young population is with the university. University, as Raj was also saying, that the demographic dividend is in our favor. We have the young population in the universities. Therefore, universities can create a new generation of leaders who are equipped to tackle the complex challenges of the 21st century. In addition to research and innovations, universities also have a vital role to play in education and capacity building. Capacity building of the teachers, capacity building of the students, capacity building of the community. By integrating sustainability principles into their curricula and promoting global citizenship and cross-cultural understanding, universities can empower students to become agents of change in their own communities and even beyond. Furthermore, universities can offer training and capacity building programs to equip professionals with the skills and knowledge needed to address sustainability challenges in their respective. So when I was in the university, this BPS Women University, we had a center called Center for Society, University Interface and Research. And then in the curriculum, I mean, we used to have some add-on courses like community engagement, or there was a course on what was it? I forgot the name, microfinancing and all. So there we were saying that within the curriculum also, we can make such changes so that the universities can for example, say chemistry students, they do the salt analysis in the classroom. In addition to the salt analysis, they can do the soil analysis to tell the farmers what is deficient in their soil, what nutrient is missing. Can they do the water analysis to know which hand pump water is good for drinking and which is not? Can the geography students do the geomapping? Can the history students do the history of the villages around their community? So like this, if you include it in the curriculum, if you integrate sustainability in their curriculum, that can help a lot, and the community engagement can be very broad and very effective. So in conclusion, the future of universities lies in their ability to embrace global partnerships for sustainable development. By working together across borders and disciplines, universities can harness the power of collective action to drive positive change and build a more sustainable and equitable world for future generations. Let us all seize this opportunity to transform our universities into catalysts for global progress and prosperity. And I know that this can be done, but the universities have to take effective steps for that. Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity, Ramesh. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mittal, for such thorough insights into how we can align all 17 SDGs with our immediate roles and responsibilities as university stakeholders. I am now pleased to invite Professor Dr. Virender S. Chauhan, former Chairman, University Grants Commission, to please present the keynote address. Over to you, Dr. Chauhan.
Dr. Sarkar, Raj, my fellow panelists, and all those who have joined this session. Raj, Ashwin, and Pankaj have said almost everything that one would like to say, and I don't really want to repeat any of those. I want to imagine myself as a university. If I'm a university and I'm now being asked to design something which will address very wide, complex matter of social injustice and sustainable development that is being talked about for the past 30 years, I would be a confused system. I would very quickly I've changed what I would want to say completely because I don't want to repeat what Raj has said. I would like to look at myself at what I was, what I am, and what I'm expected to be. What I was I successful? I'll go back to the last century and trace myself, let's say, in early 1900. I went through 2 wars, world wars. I went through amazing success in physics in the early part of the century. Amazing successes in chemistry all happened on my campuses. We produced synthetic rubber, polymers, changed life. In the next 20 years, we started learning what we are, how the life, so biology took over. The structure of DNA was solved in my campus. And huge amount of fundamentally important research, knowledge creation, dissemination, and accessing that knowledge was created by earlier avatar. I moved myself into 80s. Many things happened between 80s and 90s. And to cut a long story short, all of it, this may not be something which is acceptable to everybody, but this is what I feel as a university, that education was being sought by very large numbers suddenly. So GERs, which were in single digit, became in double digit, crossed 50, crossed 80, crossed 90 in certain countries. The demand on my campus was huge. And without anybody realizing, the accessing of what I had to offer beginning to become a commodity because there were too many people accessing what I had. What I had was very successful. What I needed to offer, and then 2-3 things happened at the same time, which are entirely irreversible. That was advent of information technology, internet, and then the rest followed. Cheap flights, what I could offer became truly globalized. I then, in turn, had to look at the same pool of students. I had to compete with my fellow structures for the faculty to be hired. I had to compete for funding internationally. This, unfortunately, coalesced with my earlier avatar, the state funded all what I did. I educated people, not necessarily skilled people. I educated people on my campuses and let them go to the society, and they serve the society. In fact, if you look at some of the older versions of university, their motto would say, come here, be educated, and then go and serve the society. That was the underscore of a university. Today, when I hear someone like Ashwin or even Raj, you would hear job creation, industry alignment, as if university has taken up on itself to find job for everybody that comes to me. And this tension then comes down into the next century, and then universities suddenly are charged with providing research, innovation, skilling people, finding jobs, dealing with the industry. So I think my old avatar has completely changed, where the knowledge was created for the sake of knowledge, disseminated with people who and then educated people to go and serve the society. It becomes very important now for the topic that Raj has chosen, or Jindal University has chosen, social injustice. India, I think I'll take 2 minutes to talk about India later on, but let me just continue the future of university itself. What is the present of university? Present of the university is that education like it or not, is a commodity. It is a brand. It is being branded on daily basis. That's how you begin to bring the grading of university, A university being better than B, discourages university to collaborate freely because I need my scores to go up. This is not willfully done. It is simply has happened. Although university I have always remained strong. I'll just take one example, what can be done, what has been done, and what will be done. In the COVID time, if you look around, the first response to deal with COVID came from nowhere else. It came from the universities. The vaccine that got created in one university in Oxford is the one which immunized 60% of the world. So university has in itself to deal with the problem of societies when the trouble comes. But am I being allowed to do what I want? Or have I, without knowingly, got into a space where I have to compete with many of my kind? In India, I think India has been extremely successful. But you can say, what about Indian system, the second largest system? I have taught for 50 years. I'm absolutely breathless about what India has been able to achieve. I'm not talking about, top 200 university and IOEs and so on. I'm simply talking about when from 120,000 students in higher education to 40 million people in higher education. It's a heady mix of a high entropy system. I personally am not too worried about what rankings we have, rankings we don't have. The policies of government of India, successive governments, including definitely the present government, is about accessing this commodity that I have. And I choose to call it commodity. Many, many places, this access is simply not there. And I'm talking about 2024, when 7 out of 10 people actually still do not access higher education. So Raj was absolutely right. The future of Indian university, the expansion of Indian university, technologically, otherwise, will be just, I find it hard to imagine if we get to a GER of, let's say, 70, which we should, and the present government is absolutely keen to do so. I imagine there's a huge system. What I can't understand is to bringing social injustice when we talk about job creation, having cells to find jobs, industry, social injustice. An idea of social injustice will come from what you inculcate, not necessarily what you skill. What you educate your large, very large number of students. Let's say our GR goes to 50%. We are looking at a very large number of young people who will come to our campuses. Can we educate them? Both sustainable development and social injustice is part of good quality education, not necessarily ability to find a good job. Can we create within our campuses a sense of empathy, sense of helping everybody else, going out, being privileged to have a higher education? Do you have a sense of responsibility? Can you help your neighbor? Can you help your village? I think unless you did that, there is no magic, something you can drop and university can address social injustice. The way we are geared right now, I mean, anywhere in the world, if you look at, barring the places where the wars are being fought, anywhere you look at, you'll find inequality is on the increase. It is not on the decrease. No economic system has provided answer to them. Does university have strength to do so? I think university have talent to do so. I think university can create awareness, can do research, can do innovation. But how do you actualize it? Take, for example, something which you put as sustainable development. If you talk sustainable development seriously, you'll come to very quickly through the funnel that we should have energy systems which are renewable, because any development, as I understand, I personally thought sustainable development is an oxymoron. But let's say it is not. And we can depend on technology as much as you want to depend on. But on our campuses, the awareness that sustainable development can only happen when personal behavior changes. And if a large number of people are going to come to our campus and you can inculcate sense of empathy, sense of fairness, sense of togetherness, and personal behaviors. And I've been watching this space for a very long time. Even in COPA 27, we are still arguing with all the power of all the university in the world, having produced data, produced information, we are still arguing whether fossil fuel create problem for the environment or not. I thought we had dusted that long time back. If ozone layers have to be repaired, a university coming together can't do that. We can produce knowledge. So I'll go back to my original point, what I was, what I am, what I want to be. I should be allowed to create knowledge for the knowledge's sake. I should be allowed to share knowledge with everybody. I should allow to debate, disagree. From those patterns will come what will filter down will be something that will be acceptable to all. Above all, I think we need to get back to define university as a places of education. Our kids will be with us for 4 years. Faculties have to make sure that this is what early university did. They got people come from all walks of life, put them together. Some became lawyers, some became doctors, some became civil servants, some became school teachers or whatever. I think we need to rejig that. Can future university collaborate? Can they come together? I hope so. I hope they won't worry about individual rankings. I hope they will share information very, very freely. I gave you an example. All the testing done initially for COVID was done in the universities because the problem came so suddenly. Universities have answers for that, will have answers. So I'm going to just stop saying that future of something as complex as social injustice and climate change affecting this will really, to my mind, at my age, I think it really can come from educating people and their personal behaviors. If we can drive a small car, we may not need to drive an SUV. If I can work at 28-4 degrees, then I don't have to have air conditioner at 18 degrees. This is what needs to be put into young people's head. And I think it's not very difficult. I think universities can come together. University can publish together, university can share together, a technological advance. If we believe that science will solve all problems, and then we can sit back, I think that will be hurtful. That will not be the right. No technology that I know has come without a baggage. All technology, whether it's AI or mRNA or cutting a DNA, it comes with a baggage. But the changing in social behavior, addressing the problem, removing, helping, will come from the university. These ideas have to be generated in the university and shared with everyone. So I'm going to just stop here by saying that universities will continue to have very important role to play, but they have to be allowed to play that role. They have to be funded enormously much more if you want innovation. If you want people to be educated, I think states have to fund the university like they used to do when I was in my previous avatar. All universities are funded by state. And now as the private universities come up, there are some very fine examples. One of them is right now JGU. They'll have to inbuild within them how this private university structure sees to address the question of social injustice. Freely access. My last comment I want to make, I'm currently working with some of the very poor schools in Delhi. It's a very personal, not knowledge is what I gather. I am working in some of the schools where when I look at, let's say, 100 kids at random, not more than 1 or 2 actually make it to the university. I'm talking about 2024. Future university will make sure that these children have access to it. I think university have to come together. All future university must come together and address it collectively. And very finally, educating our students is more important than finding jobs for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chauhan, for your most thought-provoking words. I am delighted to welcome our chief guest, Dr. SUBHAS SARKAR, Honorable Minister of State for Education, Government of India. Dr. Sarkar, I request you to please address the audience. Thank you.
Suprabhatam. Good morning. G'day. Guten Morgen. Bonjour. Shuv Bakhair. Buongiorno. Ohio. And Kalai Vanakkam. Warm greetings to all. Professor Dr. C. Raj Kumar, founding Vice Chancellor of O.P. Jindal Global University from India. Dr. ASHWIN Fernandes, Executive Director, QS Quacquarelli Symonds. Professor Dr. PANKAJ MITTAL, who is the Secretary General, Association of Indian Universities. Professor Dr. VIRANDER CHAUHAN, former Chairman, University Grants Commission. Professor DABIRU SRIDHAR PATNAIK, Registrar, O.P. Jindal Global University, India. All the Vice Chancellors from different countries participating in this summit. Distinguished professors, academics, ladies and gentlemen, as well as my dear students. I'm glad to be here to inaugurate the 3-day virtual 4th World University Summit organized by O.P. Jindal Global University. The theme of the summit is Universities of the Future, a global partnership for social justice and sustainable development. This two topic is very important. There is one is the social justice, another is sustainable development. And this is relevant at the time as right now the world is undergoing a major transformation. I would like to say that the great legacy of our rich traditions and culture encompasses the concepts, principles, and theories to guide people in having a meaningful and satisfying life. All levels of education have their special importance and place. Education is an essential tool for the bright future of the world. I would like to share a quote by our Pujya Swami Vivekananda ji. We must have life building, man-making, and character assimilation of ideas. Dear friends, universities have an important role to play in the creation of the intellectual capital of a country. We have a long history of teaching and learning, and some of the milestone institutions of learning in our ancient India were Takshashila, Nalanda, Vallavi, Sharadapit, Pushpagiri Bihara, Udantapuri, Vikramashila, Shomapura, Mahavihara, Vikrampura Bihara, Jagaddala Mahavihara, and many more. These institutions practiced sciences, mathematics, Ayurveda, literature, economics, engineering, astronomy, and also human values, which compiles this social justice and sustainable development. I would like to add that this ancient tradition grew over millennia with the contribution of gurus and acharyas who helped students to evolve by inculcating human values, knowledge, and skills. I would like to talk about Vallavi Vidyapith. It was founded by the Maitraka dynasty of Saurashtra in 600 AD. The Maitraka dynasty ruled Saurashtra from 475 to 776 AD with their capital in Vallavi, now that is Bhavnagar in Gujarat. During its golden days, it was considered to be parallel to Nalanda University. Graduates of Vallavi Vidyapith were employed by the king to assist the government. It was like the campus placement of those times, just like UPSC. My dear friends, in the last few years, India has firmly established itself on the global radar, with countries across the world aiming for a strong and sustained presence here. The fundamentals of the economy, Indian economy, are strong and stable, and we are well on the path of Vikshit Bharat. The National Education Policy 2020 marks a significant milestone in this regard. The policy envisions a transformation of India's educational landscape with an emphasis on holistic development, multidisciplinary learning, and the integration of technology. It encourages critical thinking, creativity, and the cultivation of essential life skills in our students. Dear friends, India's higher education landscape is a vibrant tapestry that reflects the diversity and richness of our nation. Boasting over approximately 55,000 higher education institutions, catering to 40 million students, supported by 15 lakh teachers, India's higher education sector stands among the largest globally. The recent transformative reforms introduced through the National Education Policy 2020 aim to achieve a 50% gross enrollment ratio in higher education and elevate Indian universities into the top 100 in global ranking. The landscape of Indian higher education has undergone a profound transformation in recent decades, providing universal access to quality education is the key to India's continued ascent and leadership on the global stage in terms of economic growth, social justice, and equality. Scientific advancement also, national integration, and definitely cultural preservation. I am hopeful that India will have the highest population of young people in the world over the next decade, and our ability to provide high quality educational opportunities to them will determine the future of our country. I would like to add that Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji said, universities play a crucial role in giving direction to any nation. I would like to share that the current edition of the World University Summit has been conceptualized to create a platform for universities of countries to come together to help. Help for what? To shape the universities of the future. This summit needs to reimagine the universities of the future in a way that is, they can strengthen their commitment towards the institutional resilience, social responsibility, and also community impact. I would like to add that the global education development agenda reflected in the goal 4, that is SDG 4 of the Sustainable Development Goals adopted by India along with other countries in 2015. 6, to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. Such a goal will require the entire education system to be reconfigured to support and foster learning so that all of the critical targets and goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development can be achieved. This is where meetings such as World University Summits that you are organizing can be extremely useful in providing valuable inputs to policymakers. This is very important. Valuable inputs to policymakers and practitioners alike. Yes, I have been informed that around 100 universities and 200 speakers and more vice chancellors, professors, and academics, and all of them are participating in 25 thematic sessions over the next 3 days. This summit fosters an ethos of active engagement and collaboration from a diverse array of stakeholders, while serving as a beacon of innovation and change, catalyzing a paradigm shift in the way we envision and approach higher education. I sincerely hope this summit will produce substantive outcome during the forthcoming deliberation over the next 3 days. This year's theme will center around embracing digital innovation, promoting lifelong learning, ensuring inclusivity, encouraging entrepreneurship, facilitating interdisciplinary education, and enhancing the internationalization of higher education. The purpose of all education is Sarva Mukti, and that is liberation for all. It is this vision of Sarva Mukti that inspires our work, and we hope this program lays the foundation to generate useful outcome that can guide future generations. I'm sure that by following the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, will witness a transformation in the field of education by reviving the ancient knowledge system. Dear all, as our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji said, in Amrit Kal, our resolutions will be fulfilled by the unity of the whole country. Yes, I wish you all a very productive discussion over the next 3 days, and I would not make me stop by appreciating our Professor Virendra Chauhan's word. This is very important. If you think what he has told regarding social justice and sustainable development, I would like to add one thing as a take-home message or a subject which can be discussed, that is, to have these things in a proper way. Can I make a trial system which will include student, teacher, and also the parents? And how can we involve the parents? If we think the philosophy of our country, the different systems, that is the different customs, which will be usually performed in our country. There's a relation between the seniors and juniors. At the same time, in the morning, what we do, we put some grains over the roof. We put water in a container over the roof. These very small things should be known to the whole world also. And identifying sustainable practices across the higher education ecosystem and ensuring that important stakeholders are satisfied with their experience is the key. At the end, I would like to congratulate all the organizers of the summit for this grand success in advance. Thank you all. Bharat Mata ki Jai.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sarkar, for your important insights and vision. I now invite Professor DABIRU SRIDHAR PATNAIK, Registrar, OP Jindal Global University, to please share the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Surabhi. Good morning, everyone. It's indeed my proud privilege to be here with each one of you and to propose a vote of thanks on this very special occasion of the 4th World University Summit 2024, organized by the OP Jindal Global University. We are honored to have with us this morning Dr. SUBHAS Sarkar, Minister of State for Education, Ministry of Education, Government of India, as our chief guest. Sir, we are indeed delighted to listen to your inspirational inaugural address, wherein you have emphasized upon the significant role higher education institutions could play in molding leaders of the future and thus contributing to nation building. Your presence is a clear affirmation of your commitment to the progressive need for higher education reforms in consonance with the NEP 2020, otherwise the National Education Policy 2020. In fact, your inspirational address has set the agenda for the deliberations over the course of the next 3 days. We sincerely thank you once again, sir, for your continuous guidance and support to the OP Jindal Global University and for taking time out to be here with us. We are also grateful to Dr. ASHWIN FERNANDES, Executive Director of the QS India, and Professor PANKAJ MITTAL, Secretary General, Association of Indian Universities, for their insightful special address. Our sincere appreciation to them, not only for the invaluable perspectives on the significance of reimagining the role of universities, but also for laying emphasis on the need for global collaborations in higher education and the pivotal role that universities could play in shaping a more just and a sustainable world. We express our deepest gratitude to Professor Virender CHAUHAN, former chairman of the University Grants Commission, for his keynote address and for offering insights into the evolving landscape of higher education and the need for collective action towards social justice and sustainable development. We are grateful to all three of them for your leadership in higher education and also for your constant support, guidance, and encouragement to the OP Jindal Global University over the years. I also take this moment to thank all our distinguished participants, our national and international knowledge partners, for their belief in our vision as we embark on 3 days of intensive discussions and deliberations aimed at charting a course towards a more equitable, just, and sustainable future through the transformative power of higher education. I also take this moment to sincerely thank the leadership of the Vice Chancellor, the team at the International Institute for Higher Education Research and Development, and the team JGU, including all the faculty, staff, and students for their contribution to the success of the 4th edition of the World University Summit. Thank you once again, and we look forward to fruitful deliberations ahead. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mittal. Thank you, Ashwin.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Please take care. Thank you.